I don't even think about cleaning it. I just go with the flow. Are we ready?
Good afternoon. Today is November the 14th, 2017. I want to welcome everyone to your Johnston County Public Schools Board of Education meeting. I think it's appropriate that we begin this meeting with an invocation by Dorothy Johnston and a pledge of allegiance by Dr. Peggy Smith. May we all stand.
Let us pray. Bow our heads. Almighty God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the opportunities as all members of the board member are here, and I'd like to strike that, all of them are not here, to take care of the business of the board and of this district. We thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us, and dear Lord, we have so much to be thankful for. This month is Thanksgiving, and we need to ask ourselves, what do we have to be thankful for? Just think about it. And dear Lord, we have so much, especially with our superintendent that's doing an outstanding job, and we'd like for you to bless him, our facility services, builders, principals, community leaders, cabinet, and all those who have made so much to take place in Johnston County. And we just have to ask you to appreciate them and bless them, and we're just thankful for what they do. Help us, O Lord, to finish the good work here begun. Strengthen our efforts to blot out any ignorance and prejudice, and to abolish poverty and crime, and lessen the day with all the day with all people with many voices in the united voices in church, while we'll glorify your name, O Lord. Almighty God, we commend to you your graceful care and keeping all men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad, and bless and keep them and help them, of course, to keep us safe and sound abroad and at home. Defend them day by day with your heavenly care and your grace, and strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which bestowed upon them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be or whatever they may do through Jesus Christ. Eternal God, in perfect kingdom, no sword is drawn with the sword of righteousness. No strength knows how the strength of love. So mighty spread abroad your spirit, that all people may be gathered under the banner of your peace. And most merciful God, we ask that you forgive us of our sins against you in thought, word, and deed, and by what we have done and what we have left undone. Bless our students, guide them in doing the right thing all the time, and make sure it's pleasing in your sight, and keep them safe and protect them. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Let's face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a quorum here today. We have four board members out of 7. Todd Sutton and Ronald Johnston are not with us today for training with their jobs. So we appreciate the quorum that are here.
5 of us.
Oh, it's 5 of us, excuse me. I don't count myself.
That's why I made the change.
I never count myself. So we do have 5 members. Thank you, Mr. Hall. There's no public comments today. Next on the agenda is approval of the October 10th minutes of 2017. You've had those minutes and able to review those. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Butler Hall. Any questions about the agenda and minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Discussion and adjusting to agenda. Dr. Renfro.
Yes, sir. To accommodate some parents, stakeholders that are traveling to be a part of our meeting today, I'd ask the board to consider moving items from the chief of staff just ahead of items from the deputy superintendent. So those things that Ms. Gill present would go first before Dr. Price's.
So items from chief of staff will be B,
Yes,
and
sir.
items from the deputy be C. The other changes on the advisory appointments, Teresa Grant will be presenting the advisory appointments for Selma Middle, Smithfield Middle, and Butler Hall will be presenting the appointments for Innovation Academy at South Campus and Micro Elementary. Any other adjustments to the agenda? If not, I entertain a motion for the adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
Teresa Grant, second by Butler Hall. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Comments from the board members, starting with Dr. Smith.
Thanks, sir. The luncheon at Dixon Road today was delightful. Lots of innovation, lots of personalization, and most of all, at the end, relationships. Those students were delightful. Veterans Day is always a wonderful occasion, and this year is no exception. We applaud all those who made that possible. I'd also like to congratulate the teams who went to the playoffs. We've enjoyed going to the games, including middle school games this year, and it's been delightful. The Advisory Council dinner, where the living legends were honored, was again one of those occasions that you're so thankful that we have people of such quality in the Johnston County school system, public school system. The dedications were, again, just excellent. Dr. Ennis, Carolyn Ennis, and Durwood Stevenson were excellent speakers, and I was very impressed that the sixth graders who were at the Innovation Academy actually gave Dr. Ennis a standing ovation. That said a lot about her presentation, that it reached their hearts. And the last thing was congratulations to the beginning teachers at Smithfield Selma High School who had a very engaging workshop with me a couple of weeks ago, and we have some really great new faculty. Thanks to Mr. Vetrano and his staff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Butler Hall.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have much. I did enjoy our visit today to Dixon Road. It was very, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hall, I think that's the shortest ever, but I appreciate it.
Trying to set a good example.
Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. Would like to say a bunch, but I'm not feeling my best today. I just mentioned what a fabulous time we had at Dixon Road today for the lunch and the tour. That's when I felt a little dizzy, sick after that. But it was not because of the school, because something, I don't know what happened. But thanks to my young man, Eddie Price, that helped me up along the way. And so I appreciate that. But I would say that just going into school was a great example of what a wonderful school it is and how clean it was. It was immaculate. I mean, outside and inside, the school was just unbelievable. And of course, the food was delicious. But I can't say enough about the dedications. To me, I thought the dedications were the best we have had in years. Swift Creek Elementary School, and by involving the local people that know what went on in the county was a plus, because it's all right for us to one of us could have done it, but it was just fabulous to come from Durwood Stevenson, what he had done, and I didn't know he lived there at the creek, but that was wonderful. That was just so wonderful, and the Innovation Academy, I think we got a good idea of what's going to go on there. That was a prime example of how hard our staff works. They work very hard every day, and it was very evident at the school. So I think the Innovation Academy was another. Makes you want to go there. I never thought that school could look like that. It was fresh paint. I mean, it was just, everything was just perfect. So I congratulate the superintendent, his cabinet, and all those who had something to do with that academy. And I know we had some hesitation in terms of some of us about the voting for it, but that was the best move we've ever made. We've made in our many years when we made that school an academy. Thank you. Now, Mr. Hall, would you
Vice
get
Chair
that card
Johnston.
out of there for me?
Teresa Grant.
Well, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I just want to say how thankful I am to be on this board and serve with each of you. It's one of the best things I've done in my life. Went to a wonderful musical performance at Cooper Academy. Each grade level sang a song. It was really neat to see. Todd's not here, but he went with me on several spirit nights and fall festivals, and you could even check out a video of Todd and I on a donut eating contest at South Smithfield Elementary
So who
with
won that?
Principal Mackey. Yes, Todd won. I said he cheated, but and Todd also went with me to the leadership forum on opioids in Johnston County. Very informative, and we'll see what they come back with. Today's visit, mission accomplished at Dixon Road Elementary, and to see the students and teachers in action was really neat. I'd say two of my most favorite things that occurred in the last month was I was invited to speak at the East Clayton Elementary School SGA induction ceremony, and that was really neat to be on stage with those new young leaders. Our leaders of tomorrow, amazing group of kids. And then South Smithfield Elementary had a stakeholders meeting, and Todd and I attended that. And I'm not going to discuss what they discussed because they're going to present next month, but oh my goodness, the passion they had in presenting at that meeting. The teachers and the staff and the principal are so excited about the future of South Smithfield Elementary, and I am too. Can't wait.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. As you can see, our board members fan out and they work hard each and every month to reach out to our schools and stakeholders to be a part of Johnston County Public Schools. And I was able to go to Corinth Holder High School in their advisory meeting, and we talked about growth. As you know, Corinth Holder is one of our largest schools, and they have plenty of mobile units in the back that are full. Actually, they had mobile units the first year. I think Dr. Renfro or close to it. But, you know, with growth, there's challenges, but I also think we're blessed to live in a county that is growing. There are counties in North Carolina that are closing schools and trying to figure out what to do with them. So I believe Johnston County Public Schools is the economic engine for the growth of this county. People are moving in this county because they want to have quality of life, and they want a school system that's going to educate our next generation. And we're blessed to be a part of that. We're blessed to be able to go into the schools and find out what's going on in the walls of our classrooms and what innovation is being injected into each classroom. Just like today, we didn't see any paper. It was all hitting smart boards and iPads, and innovation was injected with us. I might have to, every time I go home, I have to get my 13-year-old daughter to show me how to do something on my phone or my computer. That's just the way the world's going. But to go into the classrooms and see our children having fun learning together. I don't think I went into a single classroom where they were working individually. They were working in groups. Yeah. Everybody was in a group, and they were having fun. And that excites me, because when I was in school, it was sit in a desk and get it or not get it. So times have changed. Mm-hmm. And what I like about innovation is, and what the teachers really injected in us today is, it's immediate assessment. Yeah. They can find out what a specific student needs at that time, and they can go ahead and start remediation. You know, right? They don't have to grade a paper; it's already on the computer, so they can see it. So that excites me. But there's so much more going on that I can sit here and talk all day. But I urge you, as a stakeholder, to contact the principal of your school and volunteer or just come in to see what's going on. I think you will be amazed, but thank you for coming. Thank you, board members, for the hard work you do. And with that being said, I will turn it over to Dr. Renfro.
We're going to do any advisory council appointments today?
I'll think about that. Let's go back to that.
He had to get that point in, though.
Second correction today. I've been on my soapbox and now
Yeah,
I've
you
skipped
did
it.
good. You did good. You did good.
Advisory board appointment, starting with Teresa Grant.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Renfro.
Selma Middle School Principal Chris Jermanuski recommends reappointment of members Shimona Foreman and Stevie Prince for 3 years, terms to end in June 2020, and a new member appointment of 3 years for Sonia Edmondson Langley, term to end June 2020. Smithfield Middle Principal Heather Anders recommends reappointment of members Betsy Stevens and Brian Jenkins, terms to end in June 2020.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. We'll let that serve as your motion for appointments for advisory board members. Butler Hall.
Mr. Chairman, Principal Kelly Johnston at Innovation Academy is recommending for 3-year appointments Claudia Jara, Alexis Battle, Meredith White, Destiny Savage, Charles Brewer, and Shaleigh Soms. These appointments would end in June 2020, and of course, this is one of our new schools. There's so many. That's a full advisory council right there. And also at Micro Elementary, Principal Robert Talton is asking.
Alan Sasser's the principal.
Excuse me, that's you?
Alan Sasser's the principal.
I'm sorry, it is. I can't even read. It's probably the glasses.
You got cards, don't you?
The new appointment for 3 years at Micro Elementary is Robert Talton,
Yeah.
filling the seat previously held by Brandy Crocker. His term would end in June 2020.
Yeah.
Sorry for the slip up.
That's okay, Mr. Hall. We'll let you serve.
It's age, I think.
That will be our second to the
Yeah, you
to the
you
motion
voted
for appointments advisory members. Dr. Smith.
Yes, sir. Principal Braden Leonhardt at Westview Elementary recommends new member appointments to Sandra Pascal and Miriam Black, whose terms will end in June 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We have a first by Teresa Grant, a second by Butler Hall. I have a motion to approve all these appointments.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnson,
Did you hear what?
second by Teresa Grant. Any questions on the advisory board appointments? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
And just one correction, micro, I keep thinking Micro Pine Level, but micro is TJ Parish.
Micro
Right.
is,
Thanks for the correction. Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'll ask the board to approve consent items 6A1A through 6A1H.
You've had time to look over these consented items. Any questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Move to.
Motion by Butler Hall,
second.
second by Vice Chair Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Lawrence Gill? Are you going to go? Go ahead.
Are you really lying?
Well, I don't have
The board, audience, just to give you an update, as we pledged to you previously, we'd give you an update each 9 weeks on the progress we're making with one initiative we had in the district, Joko 2020. We're in the process of getting our vision, mission, and values that you see here posted per your instructions in each of our schools, as well as central services buildings. So I want to applaud Ms. Gill and her team for helping make that happen. Just saw some evidence this morning of, the new vision going up and the opportunities that we have to make that happen in our buildings. If you remember, Joko 2020 is based on 3 things, very simple. Relationships, the foundation, relevance in what we teach and learn each and every day, and doing what you saw at Dixon Road in an innovative mentality and mindset. The MetaVision opportunity this morning, where the students were leading us in the learning that happens each and every day, more and more in our classrooms. It's not there everywhere yet, Mr. Chairman, but that's the whole purpose of the initiative, is growing and having that growth mindset and reaching each of our 36,000 students and all of our 3,000 teachers. So what we saw today needs to be an example that everyone follows, not what you alluded to earlier when you were an elementary student and everybody sat in straight rows and either you got it or you didn't get it. And if you didn't get it, it was tough on you. Our pledge to make Johnston County a better place is to provide the best quality public education for all 36,000 students. We talk about in the slides that come after this, we'll refresh our memory about what a WIG is, a wildly important goal. And even though we laser our focus on those things that are wildly important to us, we still have to be reminded of all the things that we are doing. And there are just some examples, and I'm not going to read two because you can read them yourself, but we have been very progressive and aggressive in the last 2 years to have a positive impact on student learning in the Johnston County Public Schools. And you can look at each of those bullet points and see the things that are happening every day in all of our buildings. So as we take the things that we're doing moving forward into the new 2018 school year, 3 deliberate phases for Joko 2020. Last year we spent time with our principals and central leadership to lay a foundation. This year our focus is on our classroom teachers, helping them develop a growth mindset so that they can be the ambassadors of change for our 36,000 students. And we know that phase 3 will follow next year, and that will reach out to our communities, our students, and our parents. The wildly important goals: your superintendent will be accountable for successful implementation of phase 2 of Joko 2020. And we'll measure that kind of progress through lead measures and data points, which we've had this conversation before. Lead learner for the district. We talk so much about the importance of a principal being the lead learner for the building. In between Dixon Road and at the start of our 2 o'clock meeting, I made an appearance at an assistant principal induction. Those are the future principals of the Johnston County Public Schools that are going through training today. They're not being trained to be managers. They're being trained to be lead learners. And so all the non-instructional things that we can take off a principal's plate so that they can truly impact teaching and learning in the building, that's what's going to make an impact on the students and putting them in a position to be successful. And we talk about 36,000 students and their parents. Our parents expect that. Our parents expect us to provide the best possible education to each student. Now, as parents, a lot of times they don't care about everybody else, but they care about their own student. And so that's the challenge that sets before us, and Joko 2020 is helping us make that happen. As we talk about lead learner for the district or lead learner for a building, there are 3 things that we want to refresh your memory about: instructional implementation, innovative practices, professional development impact, and qualitative teacher perception tools. Not each of our employees, not each of our teammates has a growth or innovative mindset. Some people are content with not changing and maintaining the status quo. But we remind them all on a daily basis, you either get better in life or you get worse. Nothing stays the same. What did we do today to get better? And that's applicable to everybody that's in this room and everybody that walks the face of this earth. What do you do today to get better? And so in terms of an instructional implementation, that's the charge for, again, phase 2 focuses on teachers. That's the charge for everyone, but that laser focus being on our classroom teachers this year. examples of innovative practices that you all have talked about today. Choice hubs, the lab school that Lady Vice Chair mentioned, and appreciate those comments because, Lady Vice Chair, I agree with you. That's one of the best things that we've ever done. And I think it'll go down in history as being a tremendous impactor on students. Restart, I applaud those pioneers in the district that have embarked on Restart, and they're ambassadors because we got more folks who are interested in doing Restart as we head into next year. And then the themed approach, and you'll hear more about themes from West Smithfield and South Smithfield at the December board meeting. From innovative practices, we look at professional development, the impact. I came to you last year and said we need to build more early release days into our calendar. I know early release days can be problematic for everybody. Parents who worry about child care, parents who might have to take off work on a Friday afternoon or a Monday afternoon, whatever day of the week it is, because it's a disrupt in their regular schedule. But the only two ways that we can improve teaching and learning in the district is when a vacancy presents itself, we hire better teachers. And two, the teachers that we have, we improve them through continuing education and professional development. We all can grow and get better in life. And so as your superintendent, it's my job to grow our principals, our classified, our certified folks so that they can be the best that they can be. You can see here data from early release days. We had a date in September, and then we just had a date a couple weeks ago in October. From the first date in October to the second date, in September to the second date in October, you can see that 71% agreed that what we were doing on early release day had an impact on what they did in the classroom. And that grew from 71% to 90% in October. And this is coming from teachers themselves who completed a survey as a ticket out the door. So this is the kind of qualitative research that we're doing to show you that Joko 2020, we're making traction and headway. Thirdly, qualitative perception trends. We use the hashtag Joko mindset. To me, that's a growth and innovative mindset, and it's the way we do things here in Johnston County. It's not fixed. It's not stagnant. It's not, the most dangerous words in any organization. We've always done it that way. Well, just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean that's the best way or the most practical way to do things. He's going to get mad at me for doing this, but in our audience today, we have a stakeholder, Mark Lane. And Mark is real good about sending me emails to challenge the process. And I told him in conversation one-on-one last week, don't apologize for sending those emails because it's our job to look at things outside the box.
Yeah.
And if we can do a better way of providing services or providing a better education to students by doing things differently, then that's our job to make it happen. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the emails that you do send me. But you can see in that aspect of social media, a lot of people are becoming familiar and aware of what we're doing in the Johnston County Public Schools. Close to 40,000 people. In terms of the second wildly important goal, teacher engagement, I've been going to teacher advisory council meetings for a lot of years, and I think our teacher advisory council members are teacher leaders in the building. And so rather than them just coming together once a month and sitting and getting, we want to put these folks to work as problem solvers to help us tackle some of the issues that we face in the district. Professional development engagement data, and then qualitative teacher perception trends. First we'll look at the TAC. We had a traditional meeting back in September, but in October we flipped the meeting. And so the issue that we're tackling was instructional minutes during the school day, and trying to get some alignment there from elementary, middle, and high school. And so we provided the data with them, and so we gave them the analysis of what the data said, and so they brainstormed at last month's meeting on how we can bring some symmetry to this opportunity and move forward in a positive direction. Again, we harness their energy to help us solve a problem that is a legitimate problem that needs to be solved. What is it that we're talking about this month, Dr. Price? Continuation?
Continuation, you looking at innovation, transportation, how that impacts it.
Yes, sir. So, again, using a group that are some of the best and brightest in the district to help us solve problems. Secondly, again, based on the early release days, teacher engagement update, is what we're getting in terms of continuing education and professional development helping us along our journey to grow as teachers? Is it impacting what happens in the classroom? The first month in September, 75% of folks said yes, grew 10% from September to October to 85%. And that equates to almost 1,300 folks said, hey, this is good stuff. It's helping us make a difference. So we appreciate the authenticity that our teachers give us on these early release days. And we're all out there each time, not in a arbitrary or capricious way, but I sit down at the table with them and go through the professional development just like they're going through. If they ask me to contribute, I contribute from my stance as a parent and as a former teacher and former principal. So it's not going out to look at them to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's a chance for us to grow and learn as well. And then qualitative teacher perception trends. What has been most beneficial about the early release experience? And you can see these are the themes that have come out from those teachers who have filled out exit surveys. A chance to collaborate and discuss things with colleagues. Great articles provided by our continuing education group who handle professional development for us. Self-reflection. When you hear other people at the table talk, it really rattles your cage and saying, gosh, these folks are doing a great job. I need to up my game because I'm not nearly doing what I could be doing and serving my students each and every day. Effective facilitators. Not only folks centrally, but our principals and assistant principals are facilitating these discussions, and it puts them in the spotlight to be lead learners for those people that they're leading on a daily basis. Teachers developing their own mission statement, but not just the teacher sitting down doing it, teachers sitting down with students and developing a classroom mission statement. This is what our mission is each and every day. Powerful stuff. Comfortable, judgment-free environment, it's a free zone. If they don't feel good about something that we're talking about, they call us out on it. So, and that's how you erase or erode the fixed mindset and persuade folks to have a growth or innovative, or as we would say, a Joko mindset. Coming soon, our Connections Conference. The folks in academics and innovation are working that. Another example of quality professional development that we will have folks in the building, teachers, administrators going through just so they can be the best that they can be. And then we leave you with this quote from George Couros. Anytime teachers think differently about who they teach and how they teach, they can create better learning opportunities. Questioning what we do and why we do it is essential for innovation. Questioning what we do and why we do it is essential for innovation. We always have to remember our why. We can't get caught up in the minutia or in the weeds when it comes to applying the best possible public education for 36,000 students. And that's easy today, because often we don't hear the good things that are happening in Johnston County Public Schools. It's the mistakes we've made. And so I applaud you for being innovative, for being risk-taking, and for being a progressive group of lead learners for the district, because the example you provide inspires us all. Relationships, relevance, and innovation. Any questions about Joko 2020?
Renfro, as you go through that, there's a rhyme and reason for the reset earlier in the year of cabinet members and operational managers, and you want the principals to be the lead learners in each school, and that can't be done when looking after buses and HVAC systems and discipline and those type things. Can you kind of explain what the operational managers do to take?
You know, this is a national trend where in order to impact teaching and learning, principals got to be in the classroom more and more each and every day. I had some great principals that I had as a student, but probably they were really good managers. I'm not sure if they were instructional leaders. You know, we loved and respected them all, but the demands of public education are so great today. Parents in our community have such high expectations that we have to be the best game in town. And so in order for the principal to make that happen, he's got to be in the classroom. And if he's in the classroom, somebody's got to step up and fill those gaps and voids that he might have been doing in the past, and those are our operational directors. You know, anything non-instructional that can be in their job description and the things that they do each and every day.
Most of those are in charge of the whole feeder pattern of
Yes, sir.
elementary, middle, and high school.
We have 8 of those folks.
Okay. And then something I learned today, I learn every time I go to a school, you're talking about growing the teachers and the access of information the teachers have to be able to grow in their job and to become better in the classroom. Talk about the TLC that they have available for them in there. Most of the schools have that they can pull from to get ideas for bettering their profession.
Part of the reset, we developed, again, a concept that we saw in other districts, but a TLC, a teaching and learning coach, a person that is in each building who can model best practices as a teacher, who can go in and teach and model lessons, who can go in and coach teachers in aspects of their delivery, but can really impact learning in the classroom. And so went through a vigorous rigorous is a better word, a rigorous process this summer in identifying those 43 folks who were the best, you know, the stars of the district. And so that they could truly impact more people, more adults than just what they impacted in their own classroom and maybe in their department or on the hallway. And so these folks are leading teaching and learning change in a building. And so they're in the schools 4 days a week. They themselves come centrally 1 day a week so that they can receive professional development themselves, and then in turn, that network, they share best practices, what's going on. You know, we've talked about pockets of excellence in our schools, but now the TLCs help us break down those barriers of isolation so that we can take those pockets of excellence and replicate it and spread it all throughout the district. You know, there could be some great things happening at Dixon Road, and now Leanne, who's their teaching and learning coach, when she comes centrally once a week, she can share those things with her peers who are TLCs in other schools, and so we can, you know, it's a revolutionary or an evolutionary process,
Right.
but it helps ramp the speed up so that it doesn't take longer to get it done. It helps break those barriers down sooner than later.
And correct me if I'm wrong, those people are from central services who are now stationed in the schools, is that?
Not all of
No,
them.
that's what
You know, there were not 43 teaching and learning coaches centrally last year. You know,
But a lot of the central office people are now in the schools, is the question.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And
through the
these
reset.
people are trained.
Yes, ma'am. They get
They couldn't
get
do it.
continuing education every week.
And they have bought into the Joko 2020 mindset, where it's just on the tip of their tongue. They can just, in other words, you can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, they can recite it to you.
They are leaders of the initiative in
Yeah.
the building. Now, with 43 folks, some are more prone to be innovative than others, but
Yeah.
still, even the least innovative, I think, has earned Dr. Price's stamp of approval as
They
Deputy
came around.
Superintendent and being in charge of academics and
Yeah.
innovation.
That's good.
Thank you. I mean, I'm a school board member and I learn something every day. I mean, I don't know all the acronyms and of the education process, but I was amazed to listen to what she did
Yeah.
for all the teachers in that school and the ability to pull from that source of information. You know, as they going in groups and doing flex seating and those type things, the teachers want to know that they're doing the right things.
Yeah.
And to have that source to come in and say, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, or here's an idea of what you can use next time. I think that's a great source of information because, I mean, she told me that she gets ideas herself when she goes into a classroom and uses them in other classrooms, and I think that's a great, what a great, have an example that goes from class to class and be able to use the tool, the positives
Two-way street.
and negatives of what she picks up day to day and use them for everybody to get better, and that's a great tool.
Keep doing things the way you've always done them, then you'll keep getting what you've always got. And so we're trying to change that mindset by being more progressive, and it's all about helping each student be in a position to be successful. It's our job to make their dreams come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Renfro.
Thank you.
I think it's time for Dolores Gill this time. And, thanks for keeping me on track, Dr. Renfro, today.
We'll take away his stuff.
Good afternoon, Chairman Wooten, Vice Chair Johnston, members of the board, Mr. Jim Lawrence, and Superintendent Renfro. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. And as a point of clarification, I know I've been moved up to Section B. Should I be reciting my exhibit sheets in B?
No, you go ahead and continue on as you are.
All right. I have 7 information items for you today, and I have 2 action items. As I begin this afternoon, we are going to have later in my section a presentation from Mr. Chase Farrell, who is our lead operations officer, lead operations director in our district. We do have 8 total, and they are coming in, and we welcome them as a part of our presentation that'll be later on in my section. The first item is Board Exhibit 6C1, Policy 4170, Foreign Exchange Students. Policy 4170 was amended in March of 2003, and the policy has been amended to state that agencies wishing to operate in our schools be approved organizations listed in the Council on Standards for International Travel. Further, the agency sponsoring exchange students must have a regional representative who lives within 20 miles of the border of Johnston County in order to supervise the progress and monitor the needs of the students. Further, it is amended to state that failure to follow these regulations will result in the agency being removed from consideration in the schools. The policy amendment provides a firm deadline of August the 1st. Finally, the policy states that foreign exchange students may not participate in driver education, but that they may participate in graduation. The following amendments will provide greater clarity and focus as to the expectations of our sponsoring agencies and foreign exchange students in our public schools. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee and our Student Services Office, this policy is presented for information with the following amendments.
This is a information item, Policy 4170, for exchange students. Any questions?
I do.
Ms. Grant?
Ms. Gill, I have a recommendation for the Policy Review Committee to consider on this. We have the application deadline, which is wonderful. I've never got a complaint about the deadline,
Yes, ma'am.
but the complaints that I received last year were about when they could initiate the application. So it would be nice if there was a date, a start date for the application process in there.
Absolutely. We will certainly take that into consideration as we make final adjustments for next month.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Information. The next item is Board Exhibit 6C2, Policy 3435, Student Accountability. Policy 3435 was amended in October of 2017. This policy has been amended to remain in compliance with legislative requirements and the vision of the district as it relates to student promotion and accountability. Academic innovation teams of personnel have taken a detailed look at our overall policy and language to update it to reflect our current practices related to student promotion and accountability. The language reflects what principals and schools are doing and provides clear and distinct language. Growth as a measure of standards for promotion have been added, as well as clear language throughout the policy as related to intervention plans. High school weights are clearly defined, as well as the promotion review process. The policy has been further revised to focus on the responsibilities of parents or custodial adults in cases where a parent is not in place. The policy reflects clear language for schools and administration as they work with students and stakeholders regarding progress measures for students. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review and Academic Information, the following amendments to Policy 3435 are presented for information today.
Any questions on policy 3435, student accountability? Okay, Ms. Gill.
Yes, Board Exhibit 6C3, Policy 3400 in grading. Policy 3400 was last amended in September of 2016. It's routinely amended as our district continues to implement standards-based grading for our elementary students and to adhere to state and local decisions regarding grading. Policy 3400 has been amended to add fourth grade students involved in our standards-based grading. Amendments have been made to add exceptions, which will be made for seniors graduating at the end of a current semester who are taking an EOC or North Carolina final exam with constructed response items. It allows schools to make graduation decisions in a timely manner. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review and Academic Information, the amendments to Policy 3400 are presented today for information.
Any questions on policy 3400 grading?
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C4, a proposed new policy, a code of ethics and responsibilities for school board members. As we continue to refine our policy manual with suggestions from our Policy Review Committee, stakeholders, and guidance from the North Carolina School Boards Association, additional policies are always considered. The following proposed policy is a sample from the association and a policy the committee believes will enhance the work of the board. This proposed policy details board member ethical requirements and specific board member commitments. This policy also ensures that a code of ethics statement is signed annually. The following language to the proposed policy is presented in accordance with appropriate legal references and language. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, the proposed code of board member ethics policy is presented this afternoon for information.
Thank you for putting this policy in the proposed policy. Any questions on the policy?
I would just make a comment that this comes from legislative directives.
Well, it needed to be in there, and I
Amen.
appreciate y'all putting it there. Thank you, Ms. Gill.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C5, Policy 1540, Board Member Conflict of Interest. Policy 1540 was adopted in February of 2011. There are new legislative requirements which prompts the recommended changes to the existing policy. The amendments suggested to Policy 1540 include the additions to Item 2, which adds that a board member has a conflict of interest when the board member will obtain a direct benefit from the contract. Item 4 is added to the policy, which states that gifts or favors from any person or group desiring to do or doing business with the school system is a conflict of interest unless such gifts are instructional products or advertising items of nominal value that are widely distributed. Finally, Item 5 states that a board member shall not solicit or accept any gifts from a potential provider of our E-rate services or products in violation of federal gifting rules. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, Policy 1540, board member conflict of interest is presented for information today. This is also a recommendation from our association.
Any questions on policy 1540? Ms. Gill.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C6, Proposed Policy, Confidentiality with Board Members. As we continue to refine our policy manual, again with Policy Review Committee, stakeholders, and guidance from our School Boards Association, policies are considered. The following policy is also a sample from the association. The policy details the work of the board as it pertains to confidential information that's discussed. It further details confidentiality in closed session. The following language to the proposed policy is presented in accordance with appropriate legal references and language. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review, this proposed board policy, confidentiality of board members, is presented today for information.
Any questions on confidential information? You?
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C7, Operation Director's Presentation. At the start of 2017-18, 8 regional operation directors were hired to work directly with principals and facility services to assist in all aspects of the operation of the buildings and to assess and promote safety in the building. The job description continues to evolve. As the first quarter of school is completed, the operation directors have conducted a survey to determine how the concept is working and to seek suggestions to refine and improve the job descriptions. These positions will allow the principal and the administrative teams at the schools to be the lead learner in the schools, work directly with professional learning communities, and to engage student staff and stakeholders in the schools. The operation directors have compiled a presentation and overview to assist you today in understanding the impact these directors are making in the schools. Mr. Chase Farrell, our lead operations director, will be providing you information today and is presented as information. I introduce to you Mr. Chase Farrell, and if you'd like to have the rest of our folks stand and introduce themselves.
That's going to take a while, Ms. Gill.
Okay.
Can I jump around a little bit?
You can do whatever you would like to do.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's wonderful to see you today. As Ms. Gill said, my name's Chase Farrell. I'm the lead area operation director with Johnston County Public Schools, and I'm excited to be able to share accomplishments of the operation director team after our first quarter. Can you believe the first quarter of the school year is behind us? Hard to believe. Dr. Renfro, board members, I say thank you. I appreciate you being forward-thinking, for being proactive, for thinking outside of the box, for being visionaries, for being trailblazers in education by creating these operation director positions. These have been much needed for our district. I sure wish I would have had them the past 6 years at Corinth Holders High School. I could have utilized the services. As you can see from our goals, we aspire to make sure the day-to-day operations and the processes of Johnston County Public Schools are seamless in nature, that they are as efficient as they can possibly be, that they are expeditious, and that things work. Dr. Renfro, you told me years ago that email was what form of communication?
Poor.
Poor form of communication.
Poor at
That wasn't
best.
rehearsed either. That's pretty good. Impersonal, does not allow for back and forth conversation. As an operation director team, we want to make it a point when we speak with our stakeholders at the schools or at facility services or parent groups, we want to make sure that we're speaking to them face-to-face conversation at bare minimum voice-to-voice. Reason being is we want them to understand how important they are to us. We want to let them know that we are here to address their concerns and that we are here to provide solutions to the challenges that they face. Customer service. We are about customer service. Also, we want to remove the barriers for our principals and assistant principals so that they can focus their efforts where they need to focus their efforts. They need to be focusing on teaching and learning. They need to be the lead learners in the building. Our team has been able to take a number of items off of the principals and assistant principals' plates so that they can focus their energy where it truly needs to be focused, teaching and learning. I think that was Mr. Petrano's hair back in '83. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Board members, Dr. Renfro, you have allowed the operation director team to get started. We thank you. But now let me share with you how we're going to make sure the school system gets ahead. Joko 2020, Operation Director Team believes in it. We believe in the tenets of Joko 2020, and we want to see Joko 2020 infused into the fiber and fabric of every school in our system. So we are going to work diligently to enhance processes at the school level and all other levels so that the vision of Joko 2020 can become a reality sooner rather than later in our district. What do we do? Who do we serve? What do we do to serve? And you're going to hear that word often because we are service by nature. We believe that our cabinet members should be able to continue to be innovative, to be progressive, to have the opportunity to move this district forward to even greater heights. Therefore, we found a couple of items to take off of their plate. I don't think Dr. Price minds us taking out-of-state and overnight field trip forms off of his plate, and Ms. Gill doesn't mind us signing those sales and solicitation forms and hunting that one down for. With our facility services group and our schools, we have been able to be a communication mouthpiece between those two entities, been able to track work orders, let schools know where work orders stand in the process so that we can expedite processes in order to get projects at school done quicker and more efficiently. There's one bullet I want to focus on for just a minute besides schools. Our custodial staffs and our child nutrition staff, some of the hardest working, most loyal, dependable,
We know.
valuable people in our school system.
Yes.
And principals and assistant principals, they strive to get to the cafeteria. They strive to get into the hallways and see those custodians. Mr. Hall, you can probably attest to this. You leave your office and go to the cafeteria, you're hit 20 times with questions before you get there, and when you get there, you forgot why you went. That happens. As operation directors, we have made it a point, we have made it a priority that we want these important employees to know that they are valued, to know that they are supported, to know that we are there for them. So we've made it a point to meet with them on a weekly basis and their staffs. And we are hoping that in doing this, it will help retain this staff that are so important to our school system, and it will help keep their morale at a high level. Very important group, can never say enough about them. Safety and security is paramount to the success of our students. It's paramount to the effectiveness of our teachers. And safety and security allows our parents to feel a peace of mind when they send their students to our schools. This is an effort where we have focused the majority of our efforts this school year. I want to recognize a few people because we have developed some very strong partnerships with a number of folks in this community. Kim Robertson, Deputy Director of Emergency Management Services. Director of Emergency Management Services. Kevin Hubbard, Deputy Director of Emergency Management Services. Gary Pope, School Fire Inspector. Dennis Schlinwine. Mr. Schlinwine is former Secret Services agent, and he is sharing his resources and skills with us in a consultant capacity. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this isn't rehearsed, so it could backfire on me. Has our partnership with your organization strengthened more over the past few months than it has been previously in history? I'm glad that worked out. That could have gone awry in a hurry. Mr. Hubbard has been there with us every step of the way as we have created thorough, comprehensive, detailed emergency management plans for our schools. These emergency management plans are not documents that sit on a shelf and collect dust. These are living, breathing documents that we update and tweak regularly. We have had multiple sessions with the emergency management plan facilitators at the school levels, and we have trained them to know how to mitigate crisis on their campus, know what measures to put into place so that they can hopefully keep crisis from happening on their campus. How that they can be prepared, trainings that they can go through, different ideas they can put in place. We have worked with EMP facilitators on how to respond to nearly every crisis under the sun, I believe. And also, in the event that something does transpire at a school, we have worked with schools on how to recover from a crisis. I don't think you can put a price tag on that. We're very fortunate that we've been able to work with these individuals and put these plans in place. I also want to recognize Captain Strickland. If you stand up, please, sir. Have been able to work very closely with our school resource officers, have been able to make some things happen that have needed to happen for a long time. Our school resource officers will now have keys to all of their feeder schools so that if something happens at one of the schools that they serve and they need to get into the building quickly, they have access. So glad we were able to make that happen. Also writing a grant so that our mobile units can have consistent signage. If emergency management services or law enforcement needs to come to a campus and they need to get to a specific mobile unit, there will be consistent signage across our campuses so that they will know exactly where it is they need to go. As a operation director team, we have made it a point to inventory school safety at our schools so we can determine where we need to put more resources so that schools can be as safe as they can possibly be. And also we are obtaining FEMA certifications. The last course that we went through was active shooter, what can you do? And we are going to do one a quarter so that we can be knowledgeable about how to handle certain scenarios at schools, and we want to share that knowledge with schools. Old football reference, Coach. We like to tackle challenges. We believe in solving problems. We are not problem identifiers. That is easy to do. We're here to solve problems. As you see the list, these are some of the obstacles that we've tackled thus far in this school year. and we have a plan, and these wheels are in motion that we can take care of the items listed there. Our team meets once a week. We go to facility services, we meet at a round table, we bring challenges that we are having at our schools, and we don't leave until we find a solution to those problems. Those meetings get kind of long, and we turn the heat up to get ourselves out sometimes. But we do not leave the table until we figured it out. We want to make sure we are working hard, smart, and together. We want to be engaged in our schools, and we go in with a smile every day so that we are approachable to the individuals that we serve. We're about getting the work done. That's what we want to do every day. Dr. Renfro knows how to issue a challenge to me. He provided an article earlier in the school year, and that hadn't gotten by me, about what operation directors are doing in other states and in other cities. Challenge accepted, sir. The next article is going to be about what's happening in Johnston County Public Schools with our operation director team.
Yes, sir.
Those guys in Washington, D.C. don't stand a chance at what we're going to do.
That's the kind of stuff I like. Keep on going.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Recently, and I must apologize, we have some handouts I want to share with you. And the reason that we have them, and I want to share them now, and I don't know if that's acceptable or not, but we had a survey that we conducted with our principals because we wanted to get feedback to see how we can better serve schools, and we wanted to give them an opportunity to answer all the way up to this week. If possible, could we provide you with copies of those handouts? All right. Ms. Jones have copies of these handouts. As I said, in late October, we sent a brief survey to principals to get a sense of how the operation director team can continue to best meet the specific needs of schools. 33 principals responded to the survey. Our operation director team, as I've said, we're dedicated to problem solving and looking for ways to continuously improve in all that we do. If you look at the second page, question 1 of our survey, question posed to principals was, in what ways has your OD assisted you in your school? And they gave us a laundry list of things that we have been able to accomplish at the school level. I want to turn your attention to the bottom portion of the page. There are 3 bullets that I believe sum up what we do as a team. First bullet, helping with different issues regarding facilities as they arise. Something that comes to mind, Coach Renfro, let me go back to your coaching days for a second. On Thursday night, if you're coaching the JV team and the washing machine goes out where you have jerseys on it, could that be considered a crisis for you and your team?
If we wear them on Friday night, yes, sir.
Absolutely. Our operation.
That's happened before. We had to load up and go to the laundromat and do our uniforms that night so we could have them ready for Friday morning.
Thought you said you were going to take them home.
I got one better for you. One of our operation directors took it upon herself when she saw that that was a challenge. She called the company. She learned how to fix a washing machine, cycle works, clean jerseys.
My goodness.
If you need to get your washing machine fixed, call Miss Jones.
Hey, do you do dryers? Because my dryer's on the blink.
Benson Middle School was having an event, an outdoor event at night. Mr. Anthony did not have the opportunity to secure lights. So if you need to know how to obtain lights for an evening event, Ms. Dawn Allagood is your person. These are just some of the ways that we have been able to help our school system with facilities. Second bullet at the bottom says, willing to do anything to support the school. That's what a principal shared, and that is what we're here to do. Whatever they need, we're here to serve. And another bullet down says, always answers when called. That's pretty strong.
That's the one that jumped out at me.
Yes, sir. My wife always wishes I would answer when she calls. If you look at the next page, there were 2 questions that were yes/no questions. The first one was, have the operation directors been able to take some items off of your admin team's plate to allow for more of your efforts to be focused on Joko 2020 initiatives? Right at 79% of our principals said, yes, indeed, they have. Next question was, have operation directors worked with members of your admin team to enhance safety and security at your sites? Again, 79% said yes. Dr. Renfro, if we can get 79% of principals to say yes to most anything, I think we're doing all right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But that does leave room to grow.
Absolutely. And on the last page, open-ended question. We are looking for ways to grow. We were looking for areas where we can improve. So the question was posed, how can operation directors better serve you and your school? We're transparent in what we do. That's why we wanted to share every response that was on the survey so that people can see it and they can know what we're doing well. They can see ways where we are going to strive to improve so that we can be the best operation director team in this country. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm passionate about what our operation directors do. I believe in this team. I believe in what you have provided our school system with creating the operation director positions, and I believe that we are making a difference in the lives of our students and our teachers' lives, and that we're going to advance Joko 2020 to the next level. Questions on your end, because we got a team full of people to answer.
Well, I think we all know it takes a community to raise a child.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But it also takes a community to run a safe school as well. And I appreciate outside stakeholders involving themselves with our operational directors to make schools safe, for
Yes, sir.
one thing. But most of them have been principals.
Yes, sir. Wisdom well.
My interesting question to them is, I bet they wonder how they ever got educational curriculum things done in their school when there's so many things in the schools that can break down and take you away from what you need to be doing.
Oh, you can get stuck in the weeds. Yes, sir.
I appreciate all of you for what you do, because I know your job is 24/7 as well, and I know your phone burns up. But, you know, what I haven't heard in a long time is when they put in a work order at a school, well, we turned that in a year ago. We don't know what's going on. We don't hear that anymore.
Yes, sir.
So I know what's happening is the operational directors are filling the gap, so our principals can be the lead curriculum
Yes,
coach
sir.
of their school. And that's what it's all about. And we work together, and I appreciate everything that y'all do. And what I want to do as a board member is I want to shadow one of y'all and go with you one day just to see what you do.
I'll tell you what, you come to us when we're with Gary Pope and we're doing a fire inspection. That's
Yeah.
4.5 hours at Cleveland High School, and that man will walk you to death. But it allows us to see safety hazards that are in the schools, and we can address them right then, like you said, as opposed to things getting bogged down in a work order. Mr. Pope, we walk the buildings with him. We see things that need to be taken care of. We take care of it right then, as opposed to it sitting on a
But
burner.
that's going to happen. These board members are going to shadow one of your directors.
That's what I'm saying. It's
And,
not only you, it should be available to all board members.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To shadow
Yeah.
someone. I don't want to be left out. I want to
Oh,
know
no,
what's
ma'am.
going on too.
Right.
One thing that I hope to involve you guys in, on Friday, we're training the district emergency management team on their roles and responsibilities with the emergency management plan. We would love to share with you guys what we have done in specifics with the emergency management plan, with our schools,
Be great.
with our district team, so that you guys can be knowledgeable and can share that with the community.
Definitely, that's great. I just want to commend you guys. I wondered, what were you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we knew the name, the title and all of that, but what do you do? And you have certainly told us today, and it was an earful. This is fantastic. This is fabulous. And I can see the enthusiasm in your voice, in your actions, and I can look at the group you have working with you, and they're just bubbly too. It's another best thing we've done. That's great.
They're an outstanding team. You
Outstanding.
put the right people in the right places on
Yeah,
the bus.
that's it. Very good.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions, always feel free to email me, give me a call. We're here to serve. Thank you. Oh, yes, sir. Stand up, folks. We'll do this a little bit here and there. John Bell, working in the Corinth region. Elizabeth Tanner, step out, Miss Elizabeth, working with West Johnston feeder pattern. Miss Dawn Alligood, again, she can find you lights for your evening events, working in the Benson area. Susan Jones, fix your washing machine any day of the week, working in the Clayton area. David West, and if you look at the comments, if you'll just humor me for 1 second, I want to read one about David West that popped out at me. Mr. West has been crucial in the successful opening of the Innovation Academy at South Campus. He's always willing to step in when I have to be off campus or arrange for a teammate to do so. He has helped me also with discipline paperwork and has helped when the alarm has been triggered here at the school. He is on our staff birthday list. That speaks to how he is seen here. His value to us is immeasurable. David works with North Johnston crowd as well as Innovation Academy. Mr. Cobb working with the Princeton region. Mr. Junior Creech working with a number of the Smithfield schools. And as I said earlier, Mr. Slinwine, who is, it's a secret as to what he does with us. I can't necessarily tell you.
You'd be investigating you. Just leave it alone.
Again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Email me if you have any questions.
Chairman, and Mr. Superintendent, I appreciate this report.
Yes.
It opens the door for us to see things that we may have questions about, but now we see through a glass more clearly, or whatever that saying is. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Got a reference. Ms. Gill?
Yes, and if I would say it's been a pleasure to work with these folks throughout the summer, training together with them, defining the job description, and Mr. Farrell comes and joins our administration and operations team meeting each Monday morning that we have with all of our officers, so that there is a continuous loop of communication to make sure that we all know what's going on with facilities, technology, safety, budgets, and the ever-changing things happening with construction. And each one of these folks, they didn't mention, go to each and every one of our construction meetings and make certain that they communicate between us and Mr. Brooks Moore, our engineer, to make sure that those projects are underway and ongoing. So we do appreciate this, and this has been certainly a great collaboration between the two departments. My next item is Board Exhibit 6C8, which is a declaration of surplus, a house at Clayton High School. A 1,200 square foot home with exterior finishes and interior studs only is being stored in the back parking lot of Clayton High School. This structure was built in 2012 by the Carpentry 1 and 2 classes at the school. The structure was properly inspected and building permits are on file. Clayton High School and Administration and Operations recommends that this item be declared surplus. As per policy 6200.2, property valued at $5,000 or less may be declared surplus, and the following item is presented today for approval.
This is an action item. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion
Second,
by
Mr.
Teresa
Chairman.
Grant, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I would like to say that in 1970, my dad purchased a home built by SSS students, their career and technical educational class, the carpentry class, and we lived in that house until I graduated from high school, and it was a great product, and they moved it they actually built it off campus. I built it right in the curve of Booker Dairy Road, and that was a well-built house, and it's kind of interesting. You see this, I think they build them on site now and move them off, but we bought a product from Johnston County Schools years ago, so
Tremendous.
kind of interesting.
My final item is Board Exhibit 6C9, the sale of the CTE home at Clayton High School. The house structure located at Clayton High School was constructed by Carpentry 1 and 2 in 2012. The structure is located in the back parking lot. The structure is taking up valuable space at Clayton High School and is beginning to be in a state of disrepair as it has sat for several years. The school has been approached by a private buyer who would like to purchase the structure. It is recommended to permit the private sale of the CTE home located at Clayton High School. The sale of the structure also requires the movement of the structure to be incurred by the purchaser of the structure, and this is recommended today for approval.
Entertain a motion for the CTE house at Clayton sale.
So moved.
Move.
Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Vice Chair Johnston. Any questions?
So this will not be an auction, this would just be a direct sale.
Yes, ma'am.
But they did announce it. Did they announce it, make it available to the public?
In talking with legal counsel, Mr. Lawrence, he advised that we could do it when approached by a private buyer in our policy.
This house, they've tried to sell this since it's been built. And we finally found somebody
Who wants it?
Yes, ma'am. It has been advertised, it has been put out there, and it has finally come to a culmination.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's gone.
Any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Ms. Gill?
Yes.
Before Ms. Gill steps down, I was wondering if we could get some idea on these foreign exchange students. When you said something about the date in question was when they could begin. Do you have any idea when that is, so we could what date are they looking for?
Yeah, that's what I wondered about, because I thought we covered that.
Talk about enrollment.
Yeah, it's not in, It's not in the policy, it was a word of mouth thing, which kind of got, and so the person that reached out to me this last year, somebody verbally told them one date, then they went up to turn it in on that date, and they said, no,
We
it's not
did-
that
we
date,
did.
it's this date.
Yeah.
So we
And
just need a,
we just need a date.
Need a date.
Okay,
We
in
did
policy.
this-
No, you can start
Yeah, okay,
August
okay,
1st, but when
okay.
can you start?
okay.
Is that in the
June,
regulation?
July.
I think we were,
Window of
Right.
It could be.
I was just asking Ms. Gill if that was in the regulation, because there's a policy and then there's a regulation.
Yeah.
That's the implementation code. It may be in that, but
Could
it would just
be.
be a matter of putting it in policy
Yeah.
if that's necessary.
if that's, because we,
Or with Mr. Stott, who works directly with those providers, and let's get some confirmation between both the regulation policy and those folks. And then we can bring it back with those clarifications and can email and talk during the course of the month.
Also, before you leave, and I know I've said this before, but looking at this piece of paper here,
because I had a question about.
there's a lot of hours and minutes put into this. So I appreciate you and the policy committee for what y'all do each and every month to get this put together. It takes a lot of time, and I hate to say this, but a lot of thinking sometimes to get all this beat out. So I appreciate everything the policy committee does.
And again, my thanks for the wisdom and guidance of you wonderful folks for helping me with policy every day. Thank you for what you do. That's all I have.
When you get it with the table, you
Dr.
know.
Eddie Price.
Good afternoon, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Ed members, Mr. Jim Lawrence. I'm so glad that Ms. Gill went before me and took that amount of time because I have two items today, only two. One action item and one information item. The Career and College Promise Textbook and Fees Proposal, item 6B1, is an action item. Although we feel in 2018, 2019 that we will at least equal the 2017-18 cost of the CCP fees and textbooks, which will be approximately $681,000. Our Board of Education is committed to, and the Academic Innovation Department feels strongly that we must continue this endeavor for another year. We have spent about 3 Board of Ed meetings with the topic, so talking about the potential proposal, and in this proposal, we would like to see that we would pay at least one more year, and so that we can look at it again at a later time. We feel that the impact to our community may not be immediately visible, but we feel that this partnership will reap benefits to the economic development of our county in the future as we continue to grow the participation in CCP, and thus the cost will go up. We need to consider the funding options utilized in other districts. So before you take a vote, I'd like to call up 2 students who have taken time out of their day to come in to talk to us just a moment about what the Career and College Promise opportunity has meant to them. So with us today, we have Emma Creech, who's a 12th grader at Smithville-Selma High School, and Ariana Lerma, who's a 12th grader at South Johnston. So I'm going to ask them to come up and give us just a moment of time to express to them the gratitude of our board in supporting the CCP opportunity.
Absolutely. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Emma Creech. I'm a senior at Smithfield-Selma High School. In addition to taking high school courses, I also take dual enrollment classes at JCC. I'm here to share with you why I chose Career and College Promise, which is North Carolina's dual enrollment program for high school students, as a part of my high school experience. As a rising freshman, my parents and I spent a great deal of time researching different pathway options for high school students, including CCP, the early college, and IB program at SSS. After weighing the pros and cons of all of my options, I decided not to apply to early college or to the IB program. Without question, CCP was clearly the best decision for me and my family. I wanted flexibility in my school schedule during my junior and senior years, and I wanted to get a glimpse of what college life might be like. Most importantly, I wanted the assurance of guaranteed college credit. As a freshman, my short-term educational goals were to graduate from high school with high honors and to earn an associate in science degree in 4 years. I knew that if I graduated with a 2-year degree, that most of it, if not all of the general education requirements required at a 4-year public in-state university would be satisfied. Who wouldn't be excited knowing that the first 2 years of a 4-year undergraduate degree was behind them before ever stepping on campus? And to know that my parents and I wouldn't have to take out college loans to pay for it was even more exciting and appealing. So I began my high school journey taking AP and honors coursework until I was eligible to apply for CCP during the spring of my sophomore year. Each semester, I met with my high school guidance counselor and with Carrie Lane Cockrell to review my plan, as we called it, to ensure that I was taking the right courses at the right times. I can't recall the number of AS degree planning worksheets we have completed, but the time and effort has been worth it. If all goes according to plan, I will graduate with high honors, an associate in science degree, and an associate in arts degree in June of 2018.
Wow.
Since beginning the CCP program as a junior, I've worked extremely hard to meet my personal goals. Although CCP courses are not weighted the same as AP and IB courses for my class, I have managed to remain in the top 1% of my high school class. The flexibility of CCP scheduling has allowed me to work my part-time job and volunteer within and outside of the community during the school day. I've also made it a priority of mine to stay connected and remain involved in student government, school clubs, and sports at SSS. The past year, my parents and I have toured many in-state and out-of-state universities, including UNC Chapel Hill, East Carolina University, Clemson, the University of Virginia, and the University of South Carolina. In this process, I have learned that students taking dual enrollment courses have a competitive edge when applying. In meeting with admissions counselors at in-state and out-of-state universities, my 60-plus credit hours of CCP courses will transfer to meet their general education requirements. In other words, for example, I can begin an undergraduate degree in exercise and sports science at UNC Chapel Hill as a freshman and graduate with a 4-year degree in 2 years. Having 2 years of an undergraduate degree behind me provides me the opportunity to take additional courses, to explore my interests, to work on a second degree, or to study abroad. Getting the most out of CCP requires careful planning and collaboration at the high school and community college level. I would like to recognize and thank Carrie Lane Cockrell for her willingness to meet with me routinely to ensure I was selecting the courses needed to satisfy the college transfer pathway, the AS degree, and the AA degree. Ms. Cockrell has been a tremendous support to me and many other students, so thank you to her for responding to my emails, for meeting with me and my mom, and helping me research my educational goals. I would also like to thank the Johnston County Public School Board of Education and Johnston Community College. This partnership is truly a worthwhile investment in the future. Not having to pay for costs associated with CCP makes it possible for any student to benefit from the program. According to the Department of Public Instruction, research has shown that high school students who take college courses are more likely to attend and graduate from college with an advanced certification or degree. The CCP program reduces the cost of a college degree, career certification, or diploma and makes a viable option for students who may believe that the cost puts college out of reach for them. On behalf of all Johnston County high school students enrolled in CCP courses, thank you for your unwavering support and ensuring a bright future for all of us.
Hello, my name is Ariana Lerma. I'm a senior at South Johnston. And for my decision to take CCP classes at my campus was something that inspired me from my family, because I will be the first, if everything goes to plan, I will be the first to go to college and the second to graduate from high school. And that's just something that I would like to thank the CCP classes, because it has given me this like sort of freedom and independence that I know that I will have in college, because in college you don't have no one to tell you to do your homework, have you done this, have you done that. And the CCP classes have given me like the chance to see how it will be if you do your homework, do you do the assignments they give you, do you turn it in on time and everything. And for my family, it has the CCP class has saved my parents, well, most especially my dad, a lot of money, which is something big now. As the other student said, nowadays education college is expensive, and for me I was really thankful and happy to be able to take the CCP classes. I know it will help me in the future, and according to my counselor, I will be graduating with high honors thanks to the CCP classes I have been taking, and I will have an associate in science degree. And and I just wanted to thank the Board of Education for allowing me, and not just me, other millions of students who are taking the CCP classes, to give them that chance, that opportunity to help them just achieve more in their life and their goals, because CCP class has just given a lot of students who don't think college is an experience, or who think that college isn't like I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go right ahead. It's not for them or whatever.
Yes, yeah, it's not for them. Like,
Yeah.
CCP class has, like, from like not just me but my friends, they just tell me that for them it's a gift for them to be able to take CCP classes, because like Ms. Johnston said, some families have like money issues or something like that, and CCP class it will transfer them for any college to another, and it's just something that I'm really thankful that I have it in my family, and I just know my parents will be proud of me of wherever I go and everything. I just wanted to thank the Board of Education for giving me the chance, and all my other friends and the other students to have CCP classes available. Thank you.
We're proud of you too.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
I mean, that's two wonderful examples of why we do what we do, and what bright futures.
Have these ladies
We
made
got-
college choices?
College choices? Have you made a college choice?
Awesome.
But she's thinking, oh yeah.
I've been accepted to 2 of the 5 universities I applied to, but right now my top choice is the University of South Carolina.
I thought she was going to say University
Take
of
her out of the
Virginia.
Go Gamecocks.
So I want to say, once again, Ariana and Emma,
Crystal
thank you for
Pretty.
representing Johnston County Public Schools. We really appreciate that. And Mr. Wooten, I just want to reiterate the fact that we had multiple options, and from the very beginning, the board made it clear that we would really not like to look at the option of not paying for fees and textbooks, although it is $750,000, and we do not get that from the state in regards to textbook funds. The last information that I was given was bring a proposal, and we would like that proposal to be that we would be paying for the fees and textbooks. So this is an action item that the Board of Education would need to make a decision on, and the proposal is that we, for at least another year, pay for the fees and textbooks for CCP students.
You heard Dr. Price. I'm excited to bring you the CCP funding proposal of paying for the program for students that are interested, and this is action item, so I entertain a motion.
Motion to
Second.
approve.
Whatever.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnston, second by Butler Hall. Any further questions?
Dr. Price, you mentioned in the second to the last sentence that as we continue to grow in participation, we might need to consider other funding options. What other options are used in other districts?
Well, the other districts, and we had presented previously, there are some districts who waive the fees for students. There are other districts who pay for a portion of the textbooks for students, depending upon their free and reduced status. Those pretty much, when you span the globe, that's what they're doing in other districts. And so there's not a grant out there. Our Cherry Johnston has been looking for the possibility of a grant. She has also talked to JCC in partnership, and it does not appear that there's a grant out there
Yes.
Second point.
yet.
In the visit to the open house, one book was $400. What are the options to paperback, hardbound books? Are online licenses cheaper? Are they competitive? What are the comparisons of?
That's been one of the things in
Versus
the
text
right in the
books.
last Board of Ed meeting. We presented that we were considering competitive
Yeah.
pricing, And in fact, Ms. Leonard had said that she had saved $19,000 with one decision that she's made. We are looking at those options to see how much we can cut the textbooks, by competitive pricing. So those are things that we are considering, that we are looking into, we're researching.
And then
I'll report out as we make those decisions.
the final option, at Campbell, we use rental fees rather than purchasing. You can rent the book. Has that?
That's on the table as well. Ms. Leonard and her group have been considering that as well. So we will be bringing back the cost-cutting measures. There will be cost-cutting measures because we want to look at every possibility and making sure that we can continue this endeavor.
Thank you.
That's what I was going to say. If you would continue to look for efforts how we can reduce the cost.
We will. We will continue every possible way because this is not going to be a static cost. We feel that the numbers will go up.
Yeah.
Student numbers.
The student numbers will go up, and even though we're cutting textbook costs with competitive pricing, the cost is going to be there and may be greater. So we will make sure that we commit ourselves to finding ways to make this happen.
Yeah, because everybody want a piece of that pie. That's good.
We have a first and a second, and before we vote, I appreciate our guests, student guests that shared.
Yeah.
That makes it all worthwhile. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Price.
Item 6B2 is a preview of the information to be presented in December. It's an information item in an effort to continue to identify and advance potential topics for our December Board of Education meeting. The Academic Innovation Department has created a list with a brief description for your preview. At the December Board of Education meeting, the Academic Innovation Department will present the following topics: an update of Restart from Cooper Academy, an update of Restart from North Johnston Middle School, the South Smithfield Elementary proposal of adopting the primary years program of the IB program to replace the alternative calendar enhancement program, West Smithfield's Elementary proposal of adopting school-wide AVID to replace the alternative calendar enhancement program, and the presentation of the Future Leaders program in North Carolina State University's Johnston Principal Leadership Academy, partnering through the Wallace Grant. And so that you're aware, we've had 2 interest sessions thus far, and over 50 people have shown up to those interest sessions to become, potentially be in a program of partnership with our district and North Carolina State University to become an assistant principal in our district. So obviously there may be items that are added as a result of legislative changes or contractual agreements. If you wish for other topics to be covered, please communicate those to me, and I will prepare them for the next meeting. This is an information item.
Information item, it looks to be an exciting December agenda, so I'm looking forward to that
Sounds
myself.
like fun. Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Price.
Thank you.
10-minute break. 2017 board meeting back to order. I welcome you to your Johnston County Public Schools board meeting. This is your board meeting, and it's getting ready to be the favorite time of my meeting, which is student recognition. But before we get to that, I need to call up Brian Vetrano for the audit review. You see what you're holding up, Brian?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I see that. We'll move along quickly, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, board members, Dr. Renfro. We have, the Human Capital team has one item for your information today. 6D1. As you may know, North Carolina General Statute requires each public school system to have an annual independent audit by an accounting firm. This audit has been completed for the 2016-2017 school year, and I'm asking Mr. Art Stanley, our finance officer, to come forward and share with you some highlights of that audit.
Mr. Stanley.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Vice Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Renfro. As Mr. Vetrano said, this is our audit report for 16-17 fiscal year. It was an unqualified opinion, which is the opinion we certainly want. And with that, we'll get on with a few highlights. If you'll turn to page 13, we'll start on that page. I'll focus on one figure. It's the third figure from the bottom on page 13. And it's where we used $803,891 of our fund balance for the fiscal year ending 2017. Over a 4-year stretch, we have now used $3.9 million of our fund balance over the last 4 years, starting back in 2013-14. That's an average of about $979,000 per year for the last 4 years that we have used of our fund balance. By the way, if y'all have any questions, please stop me. If I don't have an answer, I will get you an answer before the week is over with. If y'all don't have any questions on the page, before we turn to the next page, capital outlay, we did increase our fund balance by approximately $219,000, and that's the first time we've had an increase in there in quite a few years. If y'all would turn to page 12, and we'll go over that page real quick. The figures we're going to focus on page 12 is basically down at the bottom of the page in the fund balance section. What I want you to see is that we appropriated into the 17-18 school year $5.7 million going into this year's budget. Our fund balance at the end of the year was $9.3 million. Of that $9.3 million, $5.7 is in this year's budget for us to utilize.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I'm not hearing
Last year, we started the year with $9.3 million in fund balance. Out of that $9.3 million, $5.7 is in this year's school budget for us to utilize. Of what's left, $2.8 million is basically left, and that is unassigned fund balance, which is fund balance that you, the board, or the superintendent, if we have an emergency, y'all can get your hands on real quick. And it's down to 2.8. Last year, that number was off approximately 4.1.
Mr. Stanley, can you give me a trend of unassigned fund balance for the last 5 years?
I can give you what was used. I can get you a trend before this board meeting is over with.
Smaller every year is what?
That is correct. Okay. We've used $3.9 million of our fund balance over the last 4 years. As a matter of fact, starting July 1st of 2013, the total fund balance was $13 million. We're down to 9.3 total. So that's a difference of about $4 million in the last 4 years of that.
And some of that's encumbered, right?
Some of that is put back into each year's budget. That is correct. And some of it is unencumbered. That is correct as well. But last year's unassigned was 4.1, but I'll get you what the trends were in 13 forward.
What's a healthy percentage? 10, 15, 3?
If we were a city or a county or a small municipality, I can't pronounce things correctly. The local government commission recommends 8%.
8%.
8%, but school systems have no requirement.
And so it's okay if we're down to 1 or 2%, which is what we are
doing. Don't we normally carry the, what is it, 3%?
Ours, if you look at what our total budget is, that's around 3 or 4% or 2%.
Yeah.
If you look at just what our local current expense is, which is what the local government commission looks at, then they would place that $2 million over a $66 million budget, basically. And
See, our
that's the
challenge as a
percentage they
school
would get.
system, a growing school system and a depleting fund balance. You have 43 schools that you have to fix leaky roofs.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, I know we got a $100 million price tag to upgrade the schools we currently have, but just HVAC systems breaking and,
The courthouse has got our back, don't they?
yeah. Yeah, as stakeholders sitting in this room and board of education members, I mean, we continue to have to press our local commissioners for our local funding to make sure our fund balance doesn't continue to be depleted, so we can operate and do the things we need to do to our schools and make sure the environment in the classroom is in a learning environment for our students. So that's the challenge of us as a board of education, is to make sure we have operating money to fix things and keep things going.
That are not playing.
That are not playing, that's correct. Mr. Stanley?
One last page, page 20, that's child nutrition, or school nutrition, as I think they are now called. The figure I want you to see on that particular page is the third one from the bottom. It's got brackets around it, $745,000. Last year, their fund balance was $1.4 million. This year, it's down to $644,000. The difference was, or is rather, there was a thing called Matthew that we had to deal with, and there was approximately 6 days of school missed there. I believe we made it one of those days, either 6 or 7 days missed, and we made it one of those days last Halloween. And then we had 2 inclement days. There were approximately 8 days that were not made up. We had the hours built into the instructional day, so we'd have to make up the days. But when you don't make up a day like this, child nutrition brings in no revenue. As a result, it hit them on the bottom line this year. So hopefully this time next year, hopefully we won't have any inclement weather days, and next year it'll be back up. But that's where we stand right now with child nutrition.
So an employee in the child nutrition program or school nutrition program continues to get paid even though we're not open.
They were allowed to make up some of that time on those 8 days.
Right.
That is correct.
But there weren't revenues
and there was no
in
revenue coming in. Plus, we allowed them to make up those days. So it was kind of a double-edged sword, so to speak. That's all I've got. Unless y'all got any specific more questions, I will get you what the unsigned was.
Just for the audience, let everybody know what the total budget is for Johnston County Schools.
Total for this year is right around $300 million, not including capital outlay and child nutrition. I think again, those two included, it'd be over $300 million.
And the largest employer in Johnston County.
Is us.
Any other questions for Mr. Stanley?
Thank you.
Appreciate what it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Keeping it
Appreciate
straight.
it. Ms. Roberts?
We need to have a meeting with him.
I will say before Ms. Roberts starts, this is your boardroom, and I know you want to take pictures, so you can come behind the board. You can go anywhere you want to in this room to make sure you get the snapshot that you
Of
need.
your
for
child.
Yep. So feel free to walk around when that time comes.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. Board Chair, Lady Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Renfro, gives me great pleasure to share with you our news coverage summary. And of course, I won't read that to you, but just want to impress upon you that we know that the media is just one avenue for getting our news out. You actually are the role models for the companion piece to that, and that's being an educated ambassador and just sharing the information. Do want to share with you that the written, Dr. Renfro's written blog debuted this week. His vlog has become wildly popular, and so now we have a written blog to accompany that and really dive deeper into the things that are happening in our classrooms and throughout the district. So, of course, you have your ways of staying in touch and keeping up with the news of the district. So you have your news coverage summary. Wanted to
Ms.
share
Roberts,
with you. Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt you, but in regards to the written blog, it may not be as entertaining as some of the other forms of media in Johnston County, but I can promise you it is authentic and accurate.
It is authentic, accurate, and substantive. Absolutely. And could write a book, we would do so because there's plenty to write about and talk about. So thank you, Dr. Renfro.
The good stuff.
Our Save the Date, just want to bring to your attention a couple of things. This week, of course, is American Education Week, and we'll get to that particular exhibit item as well. So we just encourage you to continue to promote public education. The Johnston County Education Foundation's Spelling Bee is this Thursday. And, of course, our employees and students will take a little break and decompress during our Thanksgiving holidays and spend time with family. So we'll be closed November the 22nd through the 24th. And you have your December items as well. One of the things that I'd like to share with you, because in the December meeting, this will have passed, I believe, but our Triple S Strong, many of our Triple S Strong principals are here, but they are participating with LifeSpring Church as a partnership for a hunger prevention, in a hunger prevention program called Generosity Feeds. So on December the 19th, they will help pack meals, probably 10,000 meals if I'm correct, and those meals will be distributed to families in need in the area, in the Smithville-Selma area. So just wanted to share that with you. It's not on your Save the Date, but feel free to contact our office or any of the Triple S Strong principals to find out how you can be involved in this worthy program. Moving right along, I'd like to share with you the American Education Week proclamation. As I shared with you, American Education Week is an opportunity for us to promote public education, and Dr. Renfro and Mr. Wooten will be signing that on your behalf, members of the board, and on behalf of our stakeholders, and I'll just read that very quickly to you for the benefit of those who are listening live stream and who are here with us today. American Education Week, November 13th through the 17th, 2017. Whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality. And whereas by equipping young Americans with both practical skills and broader intellectual abilities, schools give them hope for and access to a productive future. And whereas education employees, be they substitute educators, custodians, teachers, bus drivers, or librarians, work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism, and whereas schools and community linchpins bringing together adults and children, educators and volunteers, business leaders and elected officials in a common enterprise. Now, therefore, you, Johnston County Public Schools and the Johnston County Board of Education, do hereby proclaim this week, November 13th through the 17th, as the 96th annual observance of American Education Week, signed this 14th day of November 2017. And I do present that to you as an action item because you do sign that every year to proclaim American Education Week. So we will all celebrate together there. We'll move right along, and Mr. Wooten, your Johnston County Planning Board documents items.
Yes, every month I go to the planning board and we are bombarded by new subdivisions being developed each and every month, each and every day, if you go out and ride around the county. But there's lots being approved every month, which brings forth growth, student growth to our public schools, which brings forth growth challenges for our county. However, I know Johnston County Public Schools is a economic engine driver for this county, and that's why people want to live here. The quality of life, the quality of education, and also the quality facilities that we educate our children in, and that's why people want to live in Johnston County. So in order to address that, we are having a joint meeting in February with our commissioners to or ed, which they try to target areas for new schools, elementary, middle, and high schools, and try to plan the future growth of this county, not only to build schools for student growth, but also to build schools to take pressure off other schools as far as redrawing some lines to be able to take some pressure off our existing schools. So with growth comes opportunity, so we're willing to take on that challenge. And it's like I say all the time, we're blessed to live in a county that's growing. We can tackle these problems, and I'd rather live in a county that's growing than one that's dying. So it's we're blessed to live in Johnston County, and I look forward to the future. Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. And as you said, this is our favorite part of the board agenda. We will move forward with our character ed recognition items. And I will ask these young people to join me at the front, and we will introduce them one by one. But I'd like to call to the front because they're here with their families and their principals, but I'd like to call each of them to the front. Gianna France. Or Franzi, I'm sorry. They actually phonetically spelled it out for me, and I still didn't do it right. I'm sorry. Katie Lower from Riverwood Elementary School. Ashley Ratty from Riverwood Middle School. And you can just stand on either side of me. Ethan Silver from Selma Elementary School. Mario Warren from Selma Middle School. And Heidekel Silva from Smithfield Middle School. And parents, guardians, as Mr. Wooten said, if you would like to come and stand behind the board members and take pictures, you are free to do that. As he said, this is your board meeting, and these are our students, and we're very, very proud of them. So let me just do something just a bit different today, because this is the season of Thanksgiving. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'd like for you to take a different perspective as you're introduced to our student honorees, okay? They are being recognized for demonstrating good character, responsibility in specificity. Not only do their parents and guardians send us their best, the best of them, but when they enter our schoolhouse doors, each and every staff member gives our students, these students, their best and observes notable characteristics about them. To that end, this portion of our meeting is a personal, live, and in-color thank you to you for the commitment board members have made to educating and supporting the education of our students. These students are representative of who you have committed to serve, and we thank you. So this is a live and in-color thank you to you in the spirit of Thanksgiving. So without further ado, let me start with Gianna Franzi, okay, from Riverdale Elementary School. Her principal is Chad Jewett. Her parents are Nicholas and Maria Franzi. Gianna is a fifth grader in Ms. Amy Hines' class at Riverdale Elementary School. Gianna Franzi is a responsible and very organized student who is great at keeping track of what she needs for class. I might need your help after this for office management. How about it? Okay. She uses her time wisely when finishing assignments so that she can take every available opportunity to get in some additional practice on skills. Gianna helps her out around the classroom and is very responsible. She is trustworthy and stays on tasks when she works with small groups. She always gives her best effort. She is willing to take the time to help other students meet their academic goals. And when Gianna was absent from school, she took it upon herself to check online to see what homework had been assigned and completed it for class the next day. We are very impressed with how responsible Gianna is and feel that she is very deserving of receiving the Riverdale Elementary Student of the Month Award and being recognized for good character responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Gianna Franzi.
Congratulations, great job.
Good work.
Congratulations, great job. We'd like to present you with a small token of our appreciation, Gianna, and we certainly appreciate you and congratulate you for all, and all best wishes to you.
Moving my chair.
From Riverwood Elementary School, Katie Lower. Katie? Okay, come on. Her principal is Lee White, and her parent is Brad Lower. Katie is an excellent example of a student who demonstrates responsibility in all aspects of her life. At school, she works hard on every task presented to her. She is actively engaged, and she asks questions for clarification and takes pride in her work. Her work is always completed neatly and on time. She is well organized and prepared for class every day. She studies hard and cares about doing well and being successful. She even has a dream of attending UNC Chapel Hill one day and playing soccer there. Last year, Katie lost her mother to a long battle with brain cancer. She was diligent in maintaining her grades and school responsibilities despite this tragic loss and major change in her life. In addition, she has had to take on many extra responsibilities at home, not only since the passing of her mom, but also while her mom was sick. She does a good share of housework for her age, in addition to helping her father take care of their dog, Gus. Katie does all of this with a smile on her face and a very positive attitude. She is also actively involved in her church, attending both Wednesday evenings and Sunday mornings on a regular basis. In addition, she plays soccer for the Archer Lodge Recreational League with practices 1 to 2 evenings per week and games on the weekends. These are all areas in which she demonstrates a great deal of responsibility and hard work. She is so well deserving of being recognized for her outstanding effort and the care that she puts into everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Lower.
Thank you for what you do.
Katie,
Such a personality plus.
I'd like to present you with a small token from your Johnston County Board of Education, and we thank you for being such a wonderful person. Our next honoree is from Riverwood Middle School, Ashley Ratty. Her principal is Jamie Stoke, and her parents are Philip and Lori Ratty, and I believe her grandparents are here, or aunt and uncle, or, okay, grandparents, yes, yes. Riverwood Middle School is honored to have Ashley Ratty represent our school at the November board meeting for demonstrating outstanding character with the trait of responsibility. Ashley is an exceptional student in all of her classes. She is conscientious about her assignments, and she's a diligent worker in the classroom. Ashley is respected by those around her as she consistently strives to go above and beyond the classroom expectations for assignments, projects, and tasks. Ashley takes tremendous responsibility for her academic growth and achievement. Not only does Ashley display great responsibility at school, but at home as well. She works to support her younger sister and takes initiative to complete her chores and family responsibilities. we would say that Ashley is going to give 100% effort at whatever she wants to do. She is a determined young woman, compassionate, and exhibits high moral character and ethics. She is unwavering in her commitment to be one of our most responsible students. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Ratty.
Already been smiling at each other. Congratulations. She got her hair. She is.
Ashley, we're so proud of you, and please accept this as a small token of our appreciation.
That's Butler.
Our next honoree is Ethan Silver, and he comes to us from Selma Elementary School, where his principal is Suzanne Mitchell, and his parents are Pamela and Michael Silver. Ethan's teacher, Mrs. Lockhart, says that he is always willing to assist her in class and in the hallway. Whenever she needs a task done, Ethan is ready and able to help. He doesn't mind helping other students and reminds them to stay on task and finish their work. Mrs. Lockhart is so proud of how mature Ethan has become in just a few months of school and is thrilled to have a student like him in her class. Ethan is a great role model for his classmates and other students at Selma. As a 2-year member of one of our leadership clubs, Students of Distinction, Ethan takes his responsibilities very seriously, including being on time for meetings, putting up and taking down the flags every day, and checking to see if there's anything else that he can do to help before leaving for the day. He recognizes the importance of being respectful to teachers and having a positive attitude, and constantly reminds others, yes, this is you, to be their best selves. We can count on Ethan to always greet us with a smile and put a ton of energy into everything he does. We are happy to have such a wonderful example of responsibility and positivity at Selma. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Silver.
Great job. Students of distinction. Oh, didn't expect all of that.
Our next guest is Mario Warren from Selma Middle School. His principal is Christopher Germanowski. His parents are Vertus and Betty Richardson. Mario is a very responsible young man. He comes to school each day with a smile and a purpose to learn in a suit. Ah, wow. Each day he leaves and tells staff members the things he learned each day and why he found those things to be interesting and relevant to him and his education. He is a joy to have at Selma Middle School and a shining example of what we want our students, each of our students, to emulate each day, representing responsibility with Viking pride. Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Warren.
That's okay. It happens all the time.
Congratulations. Great job. I'm proud of
Congratulations. Well-dressed young man. You dress like this to school every day?
Sundays. Right.
Congratulations.
Keep up the good work, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And Mario. You're welcome. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce our next student, but this will be a dual language presentation, which is quite appropriate given that we have a dual language program. Heidekel Silva is a member of the Smithfield Middle School family, where his principal is Heather Anders, and his parent is Luz Maria Silva, but he is accompanied today by his sister Cindy. Pablo Jimenez, who is a graduate of Triple S and who is an employee at Smithfield Middle School, is going to translate today's recognition because Heidekel's mother is non-English speaking. Now, she could not be with us today, but we're live streaming, and so we hope she's either watching or she will watch later. So Pablo is going to translate so that Heidekel's mother can have the full effect of this recognition. Heidekel Silva is an 8th grade student at Smithfield Middle School. He is an exemplary student. You have to get in the camera. Who is very deserving of being recognized as our winner of responsibility character trait. Heidekel demonstrates responsibility daily by being accountable for his own actions, thoughts, and words. He is a willing participant in class and takes risks to ensure he understands. He challenges himself in all academic areas and sets goals to ensure he continues to be successful in the future. He does what is expected of him each day, plus a little extra. If he is absent and misses an assignment, he is the first one to ask how he can make up the assignment to ensure his grades do not fall. If he believes he can do better on an assignment, he asks questions and always strives to do better. He works well with his peers and takes on roles when working in collaborative groups. Heidekel is often seen assisting peers when needed. Heidekel is always willing to be a leader and offer positive contributions and advice to his peers. He always follows through with his commitments and responsibilities in the classroom. Heidekel is a member of the National Junior Honor Society and is an active participant in the school's AVID program. He is a well-rounded and responsible student, an outstanding student leader. He challenges the status quo every day. And I'll let Pablo translate, and then Heidekel can shake your hand.
Hideki Silva es un estudiante del 8º grado de la escuela de Smithfield Middle. Él es un estudiante ejemplar que es muy merecedor de ser reconocido de los principios de carácter de responsabilidad. Hideki demuestra responsabilidad diariamente, tomando responsabilidad por sus propias acciones, pensamientos y palabras. Él es un participante activo en las clases y toma riesgos para asegurar que él entienda la materia. Él se desafía a él mismo en todas sus áreas académicas y impone metas para asegurar que él continúe siendo exitoso en el futuro. Él hace lo que se espera de él y aún un extra. Si él es ausente algún día y pierde un trabajo, él es el primero en preguntar cómo lo puede reponer y asegurar que sus calificaciones no bajen. Si él cree que él puede hacer aún mejor en un trabajo, él es el primero a hacer preguntas y siempre trata de hacerlo mejor. Él trabaja bien con sus demás compañeros y toma rollos cuando se trabaja en grupos colaborativos. Hideki es visto muy a menudo asistiendo a sus demás compañeros cuando es necesario. Hideki es siempre disponible para ser un líder en la clase y ofrecer contribuciones positivas y dar consejos a sus demás compañeros. Hideki siempre termina con sus compromisos y sus responsabilidades en la clase. Hideki es un miembro de la Sociedad Nacional de Honores de Jóvenes y activamente participa en el programa de Audit de la escuela. Y Daikin es un estudiante responsable y un líder sobresaliente.
Very good.
And gentlemen, Heidegger Silva. I'm sorry, Heidegger. Yes, Silva. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. You did a fabulous job of translating. Very good.
Good job. Heidegger, please accept this as our small token of appreciation for your excellent demonstration of character. You're very welcome. I'm not sure that I recognized his principal, Heather Anders from Smithfield Middle.
Ms. Roberts, before we go any further, can we hash back, and I need to approve the proclamation. If I could entertain a motion for the 2017 American Education Week proclamation.
Second.
Motion by Butler Hall, second by Dr. Peggy Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Sorry, I
Thank you, sir.
didn't do that.
No problem. We'll move forward with our next item, which is the American Heart Association partnership that we've enjoyed for years, and I'd like for Michelle Gray to join me at the podium. Johnston County Public Schools is a proud partner with the American Heart Association, and Michelle works very hard to help us promote healthy living. Jump Rope for the Heart and Hoops for Heart, and she is here to provide recognition to schools and students who have done very well with these particular events. So without further ado, Michelle Gray. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I'm super excited to share with you not only the amount that Johnston County Schools has raised for last year, 2016-17, but also highlight a few schools that will surprise you as they did me with their totals. So first off, I'd like to recognize Johnston County. They were number 5 in all of the counties in North Carolina, and I think that's amazing because we've got some really big counties, and so I was super excited about that. Johnston County raised $178,000 to fund research for the American Heart Association, and And just a note about that, right above number 4 was just a few $1,000s that beat Johnston County out, and it was for Forsyth County. So I was just really excited about Johnston County, and number 5 is excellent. So thank you to there's a lot of people in this room, the board support, all familiar faces, and a lot of principals and parents here as well that support the program. So thank you for that. The top school in the county was Riverdale Elementary. So if I can get Riverdale. I just saw Mr. Jewett. You go. I started to say, I just saw you. Hi, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. And Riverdale raised over $17,000 this past year.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
What did you do to spur the interest in raising the funds for that? What did you do to spur the interest of?
This was actually last school year, so really we can kind of accept this.
Wow, that's amazing. Great job.
That was a lot of money.
And Robbie Hopewell, the PE teacher, has been there for a long time, and he really gets the kids super excited as well. He does have it down to an art. So, but thank you for your support. Yes, sir. Next is the top middle school, and I'd like to present that to Cleveland Middle School. raised almost $3,500. So thank you.
Okay.
And the last award is a different kind of award. It's a participation award, and I think this will shock you. This is awesome. But Selma Elementary had the top participation in the entire county, with over 40% of their kids raising money. It can be, a quarter, it can be $1, but that's just over 40% of the kids there that are choosing to help in some way, and so I think that's amazing. So Selma Elementary.
It is. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Whoa!
Give her another plaque.
I have one. I love it.
And Dr. Renfro, I would love to present this to you. This is just for Johnston County, being the number 5 county in all of North Carolina. Like I said earlier, raising over $178,000. So I just want to thank you so much for your support and the partnership of Johnston County. I'm not only a parent, but I love working in this county, and couldn't be happier to be here. So thank you so much.
Hold up. There you go.
Number 5 county,
Right
but the
here.
number 1 superintendent, right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Best school system.
Good.
You again. Yes, sir.
Well, it's true. Look at it.
I'll now call Mr. Brian Vetrano up to introduce our Employees of the Month.
So earlier we had some wonderful students up here. It's always great hearing about their accomplishments. And now I have the pleasure of bringing some wonderful employees up here to share with you. For the month of November, our classified employee is Ms. Sharon Daly. If Ms. Daly will please come join me. Ms. Daly serves as an office support staff member at Riverdale Elementary School. She was nominated by Ms. Michelle Domenico Fry, a teacher assistant at the school. Ms. Fry shared that Ms. Daly handles the office at Riverdale and is also known as the front of the house. Is that correct? Okay. She says that Ms. Daly is always willing to lend a hand to everyone who needs it, children, parents, staff, and visitors. She is the first to volunteer to cover class duties when in need. She never complains about any aspect of her job. That's great. Even the parents compliment Ms. Daly on her professionalism and her kind demeanor. Her positive attitude, friendliness, and beautiful smile assure everyone that everything is going to be fine, no matter what. She is the face of Riverdale Elementary. Ms. Daly, we appreciate what you do on a daily basis, and congratulations for being Johnston County Public Schools Classified Employee of the Month.
Congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Appreciate your dedication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're great. Appreciate you.
Congratulations and thank you.
And I shared with you, we had a few more gifts for you. So this is a certificate, a gift card, and a keychain. So thank you so much. Our certified employee of the month is Ms. Petra Skipper. If Ms. Skipper will please come join me. Ms. Skipper serves as a first grade teacher at Cleveland Elementary School. She was nominated as Employee of the Month by Ms. Tanya Gilchrist, a fellow teacher at the school. Ms. Gilchrist shared that Ms. Skipper is a model employee. She exhibits excellence in her job by knowing her grade level curriculum inside and out. She is always looking for innovative and engaging ideas to use in her classroom. Not only does she find wonderful ideas, but she is always willing to bring them to PLCs to share with her team. She truly wants all of her students on grade level to achieve. You will not hear her complain about her job, but rather she is an encourager to others when they are struggling. She was our lead math teacher and one of the first teachers to be trained in investigations. Now she is beginning with the first cohort for the Reading Foundations training. You will not find a harder worker or more knowledgeable employee in Johnston County than Petra. Ms. Skipper, we congratulate you for what you do, and congratulations for being our Certified Employee of the Month.
Such a leader in our schools.
Thank you for what you do. Just appreciate it. Appreciate your dedication.
So much for what you do in your interest in children. Appreciate it.
Good job. Thank you.
And again, a certificate, a gift card, and a keychain for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next board meeting will be December the 12th, 2017. That's way prior to all the Christmas shopping you got to do. So come back and join us, and I'll leave it with Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, this time I ask that we enter into executive session for the purpose of consulting with the board attorney and to discuss personnel items in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 115C-319 and General Statute 143.318.11, subsections A1 and A3.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Butler Hall, second by Vice Chair Johnston. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Clarification. We start the public meeting at 4, but we don't go to a school.